Welcome to another BT Anthol video. Today we're going to be going over my Paladin, a hybrid build for my Paladin. My hybrid build. So what I call it a three-way hybrid. You decide if it's 3 or 2. It doesn't matter to me. I personally think it's 3, but you know, you could say it's 2, either one. So what I do is the objective of this build is to make it so you can magic find, you can rush, and you can Uber with this build as well. Okay, now we have our stash full of gear and items, and then a nice light skiller that I found this morning, Kappa. This is the build basically. So MF, it's normal MF kind of setup here. We have Mage Fist, Heart of the Oak, Shaco, 210, 17 all-res amulet. That's actually very important. I'll explain more of that in a little bit later. But that's actually really important to have the 10 FCR on that. Otherwise, you could just go Maras and a 10 FCR ring, but I'll explain more of that in a minute. So then we have Mage Plate, Enigma. You know, Enigma's very important for teleporting and all that stuff. I will say that this build isn't necessarily cheap either, okay? It's a hybrid. It's to get the jobs that I was saying done. Rush, Uber, and MF and damage. Okay, so we have a Sacred Targe for Spirit, 45 res. You want as much res as you can possibly stack on this character, okay, and this build. So then we have 2 BKs for right now on life. Well, for life, you know. SOJ is an option, but I'm running Insight on my Mercenary, so SOJ isn't that big of a deal for the extra mana. Yes, I realize that it's non-eth. I still haven't gotten a non-eth Giant Thresher or Thresher yet, or a eth Giant Thresher, eth Thresher yet. And this one rolled really well, so it's not like I want to get rid of it anytime soon. You know, 17 meditation, 257 enhanced damage, 238 bonus attack rating, and 5 critical strike. So it's like the best you can get, pretty much. Almost as good as you can get. Unfortunately, it's not it. But anyways, back to what we were saying. Arachnid's Mesh. We have rare boots with dual res. Again, the resistance is actually pretty important. Are we in normal right now? We're in hell. Okay. So because I have a lot of stacked res, like, it allows me to survive conviction and a few other things as well. But right now I'm rocking rare boots instead of war traps to give myself more tankiness, because the Sacred Targe does not come with extra fire resist. Only the base has 45, and then no more fire resist from that. You know, Spirit is normally like that. So on swap we actually have a 6BO CTA. You want that 6BO or as high as you can possibly get it, because you don't have very many, like, you're missing 2+ skills from not having a +2 to all skills, and you're using a +2 to Paladin skills like Crafter, Caster Craft. So you know, you missed +2 there. So you're gonna want that 6BO if you can. And then I'm also using Haas, okay? And there's 2 reasons for that. One reason is because we actually use Haas to smite with, and 2, because we can actually go to 75 FCR just by going like this and do more damage with our hammers. We can go up to 16k damage with our hammers, and then we can go on swap. We have 15k damage with our 125 setup, and all we had to do was change our shield. So this setup is 125 FCR. This setup is, I would say, a little bit more tanky because of the extra damage and more block. I mean, they're both max block. You're gonna be both max block on either swap. So like max block here. Well, I guess I'm not quite at max block, but I'm 1% off. 1% off. So I'm very close to it. I just need like a couple decks and then I'll be at max block. I did change a couple things the other day, so that's why. But you want max block for Spirit, Sacred Targe. You want to make sure that's happened. Other things like that, like Mercenary Gear, so we're using G-Face and Chains of Honor, and there's a reason for that because that's actually our smiter gear that we use for smiting, and I'll show you the smiter setup in a moment. And the Chains of Honor gives you life leech, the G-Face gives you damage with Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, and resistances. Same thing with Chains of Honor, it's like giving them lots of resistances here, and it'll give you lots of resistances when you swap your gear out. I'm using all PCOMs here, and then a 40 Geeds, Annie, some MF, but mostly resistance charms. This one is 5 hit recovery and the 9 res. Ultimately, the goal of this build is to do all the hybrid with the least gear change as possible. But, you know, there's a few things you can do. For example, I'm actually using a Grief. This one I rolled the other day, pretty good roll. But you can actually run a Wizard Spike instead of a Hodo. Again, you lose a lot of damage, but that Wizard Spike gives you 75 resist all. It gives you 50 FCR and a dagger or bone knife in the scenario with a Shale Rune. Has a decent attack speed. Okay, so you can actually give both of these up. You can give both up the Grief and the Hodo and put a Wizard Spike here and run Wizard Spike with a Shale in it, or an Ist, or have two, maybe an Ist and then a Shale one, like, because they're not hard to come across, and you'll be all set. But you'll lose a little bit of damage. If you want to go the Grief route, it allows you to do a P8 Uber. Okay, so sometimes I run with other people, sometimes I do P8 Ubers with other people, and Grief really comes in because it has nice increased attack speed, it has nice damage as well. So this is what I do. This is essentially what I do to get ready for Ubers. I'll just swap my gear out. I use Thunder Gods, Dracul's Grasp. This is also Nature's Peace, so I can run Neolthak without any worries. Then I swap these rings out. I have a Ravenfrost, 20 dex, important, like I was saying. Cannot be frozen. You're an IES based character when you're using Smite, so that's important. This is a decent ring with lifesteal, like replenish life. It's just good for resistances overall, so I have that right now. I actually swapped these out. So this is a 15 all resist, 12 FHR charm that actually I believe will get me to the next breakpoint. And then 30 lightning resist. Again, you want to stack lightning resist because lightning is the one that you're worried about. Mephisto is the scary one here. So, and again with this, you have like an insane amount of lightning resist. You have 85 here, and then that's where this amulet comes in. Okay, the 17 all res also stacks with all these things that you're having. The all res you have here, the res here, and all that. And all I did was change the gear in my stash. And now I'm ready to smite, I'm ready to Uber. You can do a player's 8 Uber with this. You know, and your gear can be better. You can get more resist on your amulet, get like lots of light res, for example. But all res is what the best I have right now with 17. But lightning is the one you're mostly concerned about. So if you find things like this, then there you go. But that's basically my setup, for gear at least. That's just the 1 point smite. You know, I have my hotkeys. I have fanaticism, I have smite. So now I'm ready to smite. And I use my mercenary as partially a stash. You can also, like, if you're going a cheaper route, like I said, Wizard Spike is good, but you can also go with, like, Smoke. The main reason why I'm using Chains of Honor over, like, Smoke and or Treachery is because it's actually good for my Merc setup. Right? He's actually able to, like, use this setup and survive. Okay? Otherwise, you can run a Smoke, you can run, you know, Treachery, and be fine. You know, you proc Fade, get that extra resistances, but you're fine. But it's just, again, to save more slots, and also make it so your Mercenary can actually survive with this build. And he does decent damage because he's doing Crushing Blow hits, and he's leeching life. So, now let's go to the skill tree. Again, we want max block for both setups here. We want max block, we want enough strength for everything that we have here. So it's a little bit, you have to be aware of what your attributes are saying. And also I have a life tap wand that I put on swap. I like I do this type of thing where I put my CTA in there and then a life tap and I swap it out. So it's like a BO and then I put this in there and then put the life tap on. You can use Drax and you can rely on Drax if you want, but you know, you get 100% guarantee of life tap when you just cast it. So I like the life tap wand. So now let's go to the skills like I was. We have, you know, it's just normal hammered in builds, right? You put points into Blessed Aim, its synergies, or Blessed Hammer, its synergies being Blessed Aim and Vigor. And then Concentration is the aura you use for hammers. Then you put 1 point into Fanaticism, and if you do players 8 runs, like, it's really nice to have Salvation for your friends that come in. And then Redemption, just because, like, really useful to have Redemption. That's basically my build. And then extra points go into Holy Shields. You could also put them into Holy Bolt if you like to run Bale runs. You can go 1 point Holy Shield and do more damage against Wave 2, but, you know, whatever you want to do. But it's just kind of like, you know, I can do rushes with this setup, you know, and all I had to do was change the shield, swap the shields. You know, I got my 10 FCR here, 125 FCR setup. I can do more damage against bosses with that 16k hammers, with at the sacrifice of a frame for teleporting and casting. You know, and then I can also Uber by just swapping out gear. And my Merc is fine, so like, everything with this build, like you can min-max it with like this craft here, you can get better boots and things like that, but you know, you're getting your crushing blow from your goblin toe and your G-face with your hit recovery, and then also you get open wounds from your Drax with the potential of life tap, so it's like you're good to go. And then extra, like, you don't even need T-Gods technically, but once you're maxed you can like even more lightning absorb and maximum lightning and all that stuff. So hopefully you liked it. I mean, that's basically everything that I have here for this build. If there's more questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Definitely feel free to rate the video, and definitely check out my stream, twitch.tv/BT Neanderthal. Currently with a 1, 7L, but you know, thank you guys for stopping in, you beasts.